All right, make it do your intro.
3, 2.
Welcome to the Bamboo Project YouTube channel. My name is Donivan Gray.
And my name is Melissa Burnett.
And we have over 200 videos on our YouTube channel of travel vlogs, our diet, fitness, makeup, hair, singing, podcasts, and everything us.
This is episode 5 of our wholesaling journey, where we are giving weekly updates on our way to closing our first deal.
We will tell you the things that we've learned, the mistakes that we made, and the things we have coming up. Okay, so right now it is 12/23 and November 14th. So, we'll start.
So for me in this past week, I didn't focus on the rehabbing like I wanted to, getting that information. And what did I do really? So I don't know if I mentioned her last week, but I had found a property in Boise, Idaho, and I had a great phone call with a real estate agent named Winnie, and we weren't able to come to an agreement with the deal that she was currently listing, but she did say that she would keep in touch with me and, send any deals my way that she feels would fit into my criteria. Now, I didn't really think too much of it at first because that's not the first time that a real estate agent has agreed to do that for me. But Winnie's the first person that has sent me countless emails about different properties in the area. She's texted me, and we've really been kind of keeping in touch. In fact, I think we're supposed to have a phone call today. But she's actually sent me a property that is not on market yet. So, and that's like a great thing because she's really giving me, the opportunity to just swipe that, bad boy off the market before anybody else sees it. Now, unfortunately, because of what I realized is that the state of that market in that area makes a difference, because the price that I would like to get that property for would be about $230,000. Now, what the sellers are asking for is $325,000, and they're expecting you to come up with they're expecting the after repair value for the home to be around $400,000. Now, if I buy it at $325,000 like they're asking for, I would net negative $14,000. I would lose money in that deal. So we were not able to come to an agreement with that one as well, because the owners, they feel like since the market is very hot in that area, people will pay for the listing price. So one thing that I took from this experience, though, is that when you really that's the first person that I really tried to have a conversation with outside of real estate on the phone, and she really kind of is putting her neck out there for me and really trying to keep in contact with me, and I really appreciate it. And
is it outside of real estate?
Huh?
Is it outside of real estate?
Mm-hmm. Because when we were on the phone.
You talk to her about things outside of real estate.
Yeah, when we were on the phone in that first phone call, I asked her if she's traveled to New York before. She's asked me if I've been to Idaho before. We kind of talked about why the market is so hot and stuff like that, which is real estate related, but it was a more personable conversation. It felt like two people on the phone as opposed to a business transaction, which was the tone of my conversations prior to that one. So it really shows me the difference of having that personal connection and why that's something that trumps the listing that you're looking at in that moment in time, and why it's really important to make these phone calls, because even if you don't get that property that you're looking at right then and there, if you're still trying to look for an into that neighborhood, having that open communication and having that relationship with that agent can really make a huge difference. Because I'm like, if the numbers worked out for that property, that would have been a deal that I didn't have to search for. Someone brought it to me. So it's just showing me, it gives me kind of insight as to how this can be kind of optimized later on, and how this could be something that would be easier once you have the established partnerships. So
me personally, this week I feel like was a very educational week, and by that I mean I had to learn a lot of things. Where should I start? So if people are familiar with wholesaling, there's a guy called the Flip Man, and if you don't know who he is, you can go Google him. You might have seen maybe his ads on. It's not even really call it an ad. His videos on Instagram, his reels, his TikTok, and things like that. I was talking to an agent, and they were telling me that they wanted a PAR contract, PAR, right? And I didn't know what that meant. I think it was a PAR contract, and I was trying to figure it out. I'm Googling it. I can't find the answer on Google. Kind of commenting on different real estate YouTubers trying to figure out what this is, and nobody was giving me an answer. So I was asking people that I know that's in real estate, and nobody could really tell me what it was. So I saw that the Flip Man was doing a live, an Instagram live. I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go on Instagram live and I'm just gonna comment and see if they respond to my comment. So funny enough, I was in there, might have been like 25 people or so, and they saw my comment and they answered the comment on the live. So a PAR contract is a contract that is specific to that state, which is Pennsylvania. So I think PAR stands for Pennsylvania Associated Realtors, something along that line. It would be the association that is in charge of the realtors in that area, or that makes the laws for the realtors in that area, right? So they use a standard contract for Pennsylvania, and they wanted to use that. And I think it's funny because when I asked this, he responded by saying, if you don't know what that is, you probably shouldn't be doing real estate. You probably shouldn't be using agents to close deals. He's very into driving for dollars, kind of putting bandit signs out, which are signs on the street that say, hey, we buy houses for cash, things like that, and marketing. I haven't really done those things. For one, it costs money to do those things. I don't have a car to drive around, so I don't really want to do that. I prefer virtually driving for dollars, and I prefer talking to agents because, one, they're more helpful. They're more open to talking, I believe, because they're trying to sell the property, and that's what I'm familiar with. I've been doing that for almost a month and a half now, so I prefer to talk to them. But I think it's funny that he said, nah, you shouldn't. If you don't know that, you shouldn't talk to them. So now that I know that, it comes up a lot more often. So now when I'm talking to people, I understand what they're saying. Recently, right now, I currently have 2 places that are in talks with to have a contract written up. Let me not say that. I'm in talks with 2 different people, 2 different agents. One of them, I already signed the contract. I'm waiting for the seller to sign the contract. And they said they're going to sign it. Everything's pretty much good with that one. The second one, we had to negotiate on terms because for me to submit the deal, they wanted who is it? Jerry wants it to be a 10-day inspection period. He wants you to give the earnest money after the 10-day inspection period. So because of that, a lot of people are like, I don't really want to do that because that means it's going to be kind of flaky if you're putting all these contingencies in there. So because of that, it's harder to get these deals done. But like I said, this week has been really educational for me. So one thing I learned is something called an escalation clause. So that allows for the person to keep the house on the market, because if I get the house under contract, normally what will happen is they don't accept any more offers because I have it's called an equitable interest in the property. So nobody really comes in and puts any more offers on the table. However, that doesn't really work for them if I'm not guaranteed to buy the property. So I said, okay, how about this? Escalation clause is, I say my price is $150,000, right? But we're starting at $130,000. So if somebody comes in, for every time that they bid over, let's say somebody says I want to pay $132,000 for the house, my clause, or escalation clause, would then push my buy price up to $133,000. If the other person counters and say I want to do $134,000, my escalation clause would push it up to $135,000, all the way up until $150,000. And if they go up to $150,000, after that, I'm out. It's pretty much like bidding, but I don't have to actually be there. But it also allows them to still show the property. And at first, when they came back to you, they said, we don't want to do this deal because you're trying to take it off the market, but still have people come and look at it and get bids for contractors. We don't want to do that. So when I said that to him, he seemed a lot more open to the idea of, okay, now I'll take it to the sellers with this clause in it, and we'll kind of work from there. So that's something that I learned this week too. Something you want to say? What else did I learn? I guess verbal contracts and written contracts. So Jerry wants people to do like 100. He said you should do 100 deals a month, right? Now my confusion with that was I wasn't sure if he was saying 100, just get on the phone and make an offer, because we were doing that the first 3 weeks like it was nothing. So he was like, hey, we want to put $100,000 in. We want to put $20,000 in, and we'll be putting a playlist of us making these calls in the description below. So I'm thinking that, oh, this can't be what he meant, because this is really easy. You just call people up and make offers. So I'm thinking that I have to actually submit a contract. So later, after watching the video and, kind of doing more research, I'm like, oh, okay, we're supposed to actually submit contracts. So now I think it's funny because I watched another video today and he's doing verbal offers. I think he's counting. And then when I also wrote him in his comments, he was saying that just call him and make an offer. So I think it's funny because once I first heard that, I started to send out actual contracts to people, which I don't think is bad. I think it's funny because it kind of closes that gap and shows that you're more serious when you're sending out an actual contract. I think with a verbal contract, there's no way of knowing if they actually told the seller. Even though, again, something else I learned this week, that there's supposed to be a code of ethics that requires the person who's selling the property to tell the agent is required to tell the owner or the seller that they have a deal, but they may or may not do that. So I was looking it up, trying to find more information, and I saw that it's more probable that they'll tell the actual agent, it's more probable that the agent will tell the seller that they have a deal if it's a written deal. So now when I call people, I'm like, hey, what's going on? I talk to them, I try and get the price that I need the price to be at, I try to figure out why they're selling, information about the house, and I get their email. Because the email's not listed anywhere. So I'm like, if I can get the email, I can send them a contract. At least that way I feel like they're more likely to send that to the seller because it's an actual handwritten contract. It's signed, everything's done. And now that they shows that I'm serious. So doing that, I have I have one person, and that's supposed to, like I said, that one's pretty much done. I'm just waiting on them to sign it and come back to me. And now I'm learning about title companies, which is another thing you'll probably hear about what goes on with that next week. Then the second contract, I'm waiting on to see what the seller says about the escalation clause, because the agent said it's okay, but the seller has not signed it yet. The third one that I have is where they were asking for my highest and best, and they would say they're going to check all offers by today at 7 p.m. So I'll find out whether or not they have that. And also, like Melissa was saying before, she has somebody sending her offers. So I have somebody that's been sending me deals in my email, but I never really checked them because I always thought they were just retail properties. But now that I'm checking them more often, I see that some of them actually they're stressed. So now that I'm going to actually go through those and run my numbers to be able to say, okay, maybe this will be a deal that works for me. So I think it's very important that if you're going to be doing wholesale or real estate in general, or honestly any business, that it's build relationships with people, because something that Jerry tries to harp on a lot is it's not about the deal you get today, because even the one of the deals I'm talking to right now, people who's the agent of that deal, he's saying that he already has a property that's supposed to come out to him next week. So I'm like, okay, if that's the case, then he can send it to me. So like I said, it's always about the next deal. It's not really about the one that you have right now, because you may not be able to get it for $100,000 less than it's selling for, asking for, but you may be able to say, hey, here's my numbers, let's see what we can do, and you might get one down the line. And it's almost like a snowball effect, because if you start putting and planting the seeds now, you may not get nothing now, but let's say you call 10 people this month. That means maybe in 3 months from now, each one of those people might give you a deal in 3 months, and that means in 1 month you make 10 deals. So I think it's important to look at it like that. Oh shit.
Oh. And then one thing that I'm thinking about now as well is that one thing that I'm hearing often, kind of, from whether it's real estate agents that's been on the phone, and from like Jerry Norton himself in one of his videos, is that there's a lack of inventory right now in this current market, and that's because the interest rates are low. I think it's like 0% interest rates right now, something like that.
Yeah, that's for the banks though, to lend money. So a lot of people are getting homes. Interest rates are lower. And because of that, people are more likely to like buy homes and stuff like that. So there's no inventory right now. That's what we're hearing. So another thing that I've been kind of considering is, instead of looking for someone to like if we're looking for a deal that's not for Jerry, it would more so go to someone that is not looking to flip the house, more so looking to fix it up and then hold it, and probably get tenants. But that's another kind of weird area now, because of the coronavirus climate, where it's like you can't really evict anyone, so it may not be lucrative for that person to be a landlord right now. So it's kind of like trying to find what markets to look in that still has homes and stuff like that, in addition to who are you trying to sell the house to.
because someone that's gonna buy and hold the property is not gonna look to make as much profit necessarily than someone who is trying to buy and then flip the property where profit is their main concern.
So, and one thing that I've been noticing, or when we call people, is that they keep saying that it's not a good market for flipping, right? And I think that's funny because they'll say that, but then you'll see other people who are making money doing that. So I just think it's very funny that, because if you go by, you want to say something?
It's a thought that I had, so I'll wait till you're done.
Okay. It's that if you are going by off of what the agents say to you, then you can get discouraged because you're like, dang, I didn't get a deal. They're telling me, well, it's not gonna work because nobody's flipping right now. I've had 3 houses and they'll say things like, I have houses on the market right now that's not selling, or not that's not selling, that are selling for higher than asking price, so I can't go lower. They'll say that nobody's rehabbing right now. They'll say that, like Melissa said, there's no inventory, and they're just saying things that they're going through, that they're experiencing. And I just think it's, like I said, it can be very discouraging to somebody, for one, if you're new, or two, if you're not, I guess, mentally strong to be able to go, okay, that's what you're saying, but I know that people are out here doing real estate. You're not going to tell me that, okay, nobody is making money in real estate just because you aren't making any money. And it's like, either you're not working hard enough. That's what it is. Because there are people who I can look on YouTube right now who have made money doing wholesaling, made money doing flipping, who have made money buying houses for rentals. I know people personally who right now who are buying 3 houses just so they can put tenants in it. So it's like, if you really want to do it, then you can get it done. And if you decide you don't want to do it, you're not going to get it done. There's a quote, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. So what do you want to say?
I was thinking also that one of the reasons why there may be some people that's more likely to find those good deals than others is if you take the whole skip tracing and yellow mail route, which is something I'm considering about doing. I'm thinking about selling some of my stocks so that I can have enough money to kind of just try that out and see what comes from it. I'm thinking about like just devoting $1,000 to that, but I really want to wait and make sure that I gave my best shot at doing it through the real estate agents. That's what I was thinking about. And another thing too is like 100% what Donovan's saying, where it's like, if everyone is buying houses right now, that also means that there's a lot of people selling them. So, you never know how motivated the person that's selling the house is, because and that's why it's important to kind of ask, why is this house being sold, and to ask questions to the real estate agents and not really let them carry the conversation, because you might find out that this person's parent might have passed away recently and they just inherited the house and they don't want the house anymore and they just really want to get it off their hands, and pushing for your offer to be submitted to that person really makes a big deal, because in my opinion, I feel that I can understand why agents would want to hold off on not showing the sellers deals that they don't find favorable, because they do get a percentage out of that commission. But that's just in my opinion.
Oh, one thing I want to say too. I'm not being paid. Haven't been paid. I plan to get paid. But Jerry Norton's, I'm using the 10K club, right? And I feel like every single thing that I need is in there.
Yeah.
And there was a point where I'm like, how am I supposed to write an offer? Where am I supposed to get the contract from? I don't have a contract to find. How am I supposed to send? So when I have because the first deal I did, which you can see in I think it's the second week of the series, second episode of the series, I had a contract signed and everything was good, but I didn't write it up. They wrote it up for me and I just signed it. So I'm like, okay, that's good. But now that I'm submitting them, I'm like, I don't even know, how do I sign? I got to get a lawyer now? Why did you tell me this, Jerry? I knew it was a scam. I knew that you were going to do this, so I had to come and pay more money for it. And then I checked it, and then there was like another software that says, here you go to write your contract. And I just, like I said, I just think it's funny because this has happened more than once where I'm like, this is not, where is this? How do I get this information? And it's either, he either has on his YouTube channel where he has 600 videos where I can watch, and not only does he have 600 videos, he has videos on the same topic from different perspectives on the same topic. So you may go, well, how do I can't find comps for this area, for this property, right? and you go, okay, it's a 4-bedroom. Only all the comps are 2 bedrooms. I don't know what to do. He'll have a video that explains how to find comps if you're 1 mile away, 2 miles away, if it's not the right bedroom size, if it's the house is too bigger than other houses, if it's too small compared to other houses, does it have a garage, no garage, and he'll have a video for each one of those different things. So at the very least, you can find an idea of what you're looking for when it comes to finding comps for that situation, or you can find a specific video that tells you exactly what you're looking for. Then he has some people, like you said, who want to learn, like me. I like to see things happen live because then I go, okay, I know why he's doing that. So he'll have live calls. He'll do an hour of live calls, 35 minutes, and he'll have 20, 30 videos of him calling agents, of him talking to sellers, of him finding deals. And like I said, it's not just 1 or 2 videos. So you may go, well, that only works in that one state. And it's like, really? Okay, well, here's 45 videos of 45 different states that I went to that did the same thing. And it's like, okay, how can you really argue with that if you're watching him do it in different places? And then like I said, well, not even like I said, but somebody may look at it and go, well, he's done this before, so that's why he's able to do this. But he gives you he'll give you videos of how to do it no matter what step you're at in the process. So he'll break it down on a one-on-one basis. If you're just getting into this, you need to learn A, B, and C. And once you learn A, B, and C, be prepared for D, E, F, and G. And one thing that I learned that I like when I watch the videos is that he's still learning stuff. So there was one time where something happened with I believe maybe somebody had passed away or something like that. It was a situation that he wasn't familiar with, but it just shows you that the person is human, because you're like, yeah, he's done all these deals, but there are still things that somebody may call him and say, hey, that doesn't work. He's like, really? Why doesn't that work? And he has to now learn that. And then what he'll do is he'll take the information that he learned and he'll put it in a video. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, it just keeps going. And that's just the YouTube itself. Then you go to the software that he has, and mind you, he has different what would you call it, a course? I wouldn't call it a course.
Which ones?
Just all the stuff that he has. Like
there's courses on there. There's like 4 different courses, and we only went through one.
I'm thinking about the other one. It was like flip.
Those are softwares.
Okay, so you have different softwares for different things, right? So if you want to flip vacant lots, if you want to flip actual houses, if you want to wholesale, he has all of the things. And the thing I like about the 10K Club is that he has not only teach you how to do wholesale. He doesn't only teach you how to do wholesaling. He is your first buyer. So at least at the very minimum, if you find a good deal, you have somebody to buy it for you. Mm-hmm. No strings attached. Here you go. You do it. I'm out. I get my money, and that's it. Yes, and then 10K. And you get $10,000. So it teaches you, like, he baby steps you the whole process. And then once you start learning about it, now you can start going, okay, I'm gonna start venturing out to other people. And then what does he do? He has a video on how to do that. Not only does he have a video on how to venture out, he then has more videos that say, okay, this is different types of strategies that you can use to wholesale. Like Melissa talked about earlier, as far as renters go. So he would say maybe call people on Craigslist. I'm thinking about calling other people that have rentals. I'm not there yet. Once I get the first couple of deals, then I'll start venturing out. But you look at it and you're like, it's almost like it's funny. He wants you to succeed. Yeah. And you can feel it by the work that he puts into it. And if you have a question, he answers it. He actually responded to my comment twice on YouTube. So, I mean, I don't know if it was him. His channel responded to my comment twice. And I'm just like, another thing too. They have weekly calls on Sunday, which I was in for the first time. Tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And they answered my question when I asked the question. And I just, like I said, it's every step of the way. Because think about this. How many times have you had an issue with something, some company, some software? All you want to do is call a person. It's a simple question. You're like, hey, my computer is turning green. I don't know why, right? You got to email somebody. You got to hope they respond to you. You're trying to figure it out over email as opposed to calling somebody up and saying, hey, my computer's turning green. And they go, well, are you holding down the R button by accident? And they're like, wow, I didn't even know that. Thank you. And the problem is solved. They have that. You can call a person up if you want to call them up anytime during the week during business hours.
Or send an email.
Yes. Or if you could do that, or you can send an email which they'll respond to, or you can go on the YouTube and comment, or you can join a live call where you actually talk to a person on the team that works with him to answer your questions. And like I said, I just think it's crazy because it's like at this point I can't see how it's possible for somebody not to get a deal unless they're not putting the work in. That's the only way I can look at it. It's like you have every tool that you need. And you have the person teaching you the tool. All you have to do is use the tool. That's it. And once you use the tool, then you're going to be able to have you'll be able to get the deals that you want. So.
Yeah, and then I just want to throw it out there too that for the program, the YouTube videos are completely free. and he does have some of the software that he has available is available for free on YouTube as well. But I did pay $1,000 for the course, and that gave access to the weekly phone calls, and it included all the softwares that he has and all that stuff. And right now I'm considering trying to get on his fast track program, only because I feel like it'll do what it says, like fast track. Like I really want us to get a deal as fast as possible, as opposed to still trying to troubleshoot, because there's questions that we've had and stuff like that. Or like if we're working on a deal right now, instead of having to run into that snag, it would be cool to just be like, hey, this is what's going on. I think they have a 2-day in-person stay thing where you like learn directly from him and stuff like that, and look at properties directly in front of him and stuff like that. And I feel like that's very like invaluable, especially when you're trying to close a deal as quickly as we're trying to. So that's what I'm considering about doing right now.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think what else. Oh, one of the questions I think I asked, I don't remember. Do you remember my question I asked on Sunday?
Did you ask something about the comps? I think you asked something about comps, and they said a 4.2 and 3.2 or something.
Yeah. Oh, right. That's the other thing too. So back to singing Jerry's praises. Mm-hmm. They even take the recordings or the phone calls from Sunday and then archive it. And I don't know if you can actually. You can. You can then go and listen to it anytime you want to.
Download it.
You can download and listen to it. So for every question that somebody asked, you can then go and use it later, like and go and refer back to it. I just think it's crazy. So there's that.
Mm-hmm. And if you miss a call, you don't miss a call.
Right. You can always just get the questions answered. One of the questions that I had was as far as finding comps. This is one of the issues I keep running into is the 4.3 and the 3.2. I was trying to get more clarification on that. One thing that they talked about on that call was that a 4.2 and a 3.2 are very similar because you can always add an extra bedroom. One thing I learned from one of the videos is that it's not too bad to add extra bathroom if it's going to be worth the rehab value.
Mm-hmm. I think they said that if you could plan it out in the floor plan and explain it when you're submitting the deal, they'll consider it.
Right, and that, like I said, that makes it helps out a lot, because you'll run into that situation where you're like, oh, I found a bunch of comps, but all I need is one extra bathroom, and that's good. But you may think, I don't know how to build a bathroom. I don't know how much the bathroom costs. Mm-hmm. Also, they have a rehab checklist to give you an idea of how much each price is for everything that you need to get fixed on. Like I'm saying, I don't even know what else there is to need on. I don't know. If I go to another course at some point or find somebody else that's taking the course, they can explain to me what they have that I don't have, and then we can kind of compare the two. I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to check my list to see if there's anything else that I wanted to mention for this week. Oh, I did. I feel like the last couple of calls I've made have been received very well, and the only thing I've changed is my tone. So I feel like I'm very knowledgeable for how long I've been in it, and I feel like I feel like I'm knowledgeable in the subject. But when I talk to people who are agents, I always feel like, okay, I want to be neutral. I never go and become submissive, but I go, you know what? I want to at least be neutral because you may have information that I don't know. And I kind of just, like I said, it's a sense of making myself smaller, only because I feel like I know this much up here, but I'm talking to you as if I only know this much. And one thing I've started doing is like, no, I know these things. Like you're not going to tell me this is this and that's that. You don't know. Based on what you're telling me, you have no idea. So I'm going to explain to you exactly what's going on here, and then we can have a conversation based off of that. And since I've changed my tone to that, people have been more receptive to me talking. They're like, okay, I do see what you're saying. I'll contact the seller, and it's things like something on a small adjustment like that where now I'm getting fast tracked into the next stage of the deal, where it's like, okay, I'll submit to the seller, or okay, here's the contract. So like I said, I think that's very important that when you go into situations like this, you don't want to come off as uninformed. Even if you do, you don't want to be uninformed, and the only way to fix that is to become informed. So you want to learn as much as possible. So when you get into the ring and you get into that situation where you're talking to somebody, you can be like, okay, I know something. I'm not just blindly talking to you. Mm-hmm. I don't think you want to say something. Mm-hmm. So there's that, and then I have a new method for looking for properties. Before I was doing like one day, like every one day it came out. I might still do it, but
you told them about PropStream?
No. We all pay for PropStream. Great thing. It's amazing. PropStream is really good. It's a lot of information. It's a behemoth of information, and it's helpful to find comps for me. That's my best thing to use it for. Looking for property specifically, I haven't used it for that because I don't think it's very user friendly. It's definitely for more like, you could tell it was created by like a tech kind of person. Like they're like, here's information, just look at it. But I feel like it's better to have a mix of both. Where it's like, okay, this is easy to use for a person who's never used it before. Like if I took PropStream and gave it to a person who doesn't know about real estate, they wouldn't know what to do. Yeah, they would be like, I don't know what to click on. I don't know what none of this stuff is. So I think there's that. But this is my first week. That's my first week using it. I'm paying for it. I paid for it yesterday. It's $99. I'm gonna pay. Well, Melissa said she'll pay for her to be added on there because we've been using it at the same time. And if I'm on it and she uses it, then it signs me out. Then if she's on and I'm on, it signs me out. And so that's an issue as far as that goes.
I think we could use it like if one of us uses the iPad and the other one uses the computer, but Donivan be having the iPad and the computer at the same time.
Yeah, and then also I feel like as far as the iPad goes on that situation, it's not as friendly. That's another thing too. Yeah, it's not built for iPad. It's built for a phone. So even the app itself doesn't really work on the iPad. They have to probably fix that. And I think everybody don't really have an iPad. So it's better to have it for a phone, but it's a small screen on your iPad, so I don't really like that. Yeah, because they didn't build it for that. They built it for the phone, the thing. So what else? I think that is pretty. Oh, so the last thing I want to say is that when I look for properties now, I do look at one day. But I'm not opposed to looking at a whole year being on the market because it can show me that somebody's more motivated to sell because they've had it on the market for so long. When it's on there for one day, they're like, well, I want to see what I can get for this property. I don't really know yet. The market hasn't really decided what the price is. And I feel like there's a lot more people clamoring for it when it comes out at that price. Unless it's, like I said, unless it is a distressed property or unless it's already listed very, very low. I don't want to be, unless I'm getting there in the first 10, 15 minutes when it says listed, I think it's really a waste of time. But I do think it helps to find properties in that area that help you. To find, what I mean by that is, I think it's an indicator of other properties possibly being for sale in an area that you may want to purchase. And what else? And now I stick to like 3 particular places. I do New Jersey, Philadelphia, and New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Maryland. Those are 3 places I stick to as opposed to going all over the country. So I'm gonna see how that works for the next week or so. But
yeah, I have to choose my places that I want to stick to. I like to pay attention to the markets that Jerry kind of uses in his videos, and that's how I ended up in Boise, Idaho, and that's how I ended up making that relationship with Winnie, not knowing that it's such a hot market out there. And then another thing that I wanted to say too about the days on market, I think that I prefer to look at the properties that have been on the market for a bit longer, like after 30, 40 days, like 60 days, honestly. Because in my head, I feel like I'd be able to kind of finesse the seller, because obviously it's either you overpriced the property or if something's really wrong with it, that we can kind of afford to rehab and make that profit off of, I can talk you down better. That's what I'm hoping for with looking at properties that's over 60 days, maybe even 100 days. So yeah.
So that will wrap it up. Oh, wait, one more thing I wanted to say is liens and mortgages I had to learn about this week too, because it's important to know if there's a mortgage on the house, because that will eat into your profit when you are going to if you're going to assign it to a cash buyer. So they're going to have to know how much money is still owed on the property, 1, and 2, you don't want to offer lower than that price because the person selling it may still want to pay off the mortgage. Will still have to pay off the mortgage. So if the house has a mortgage of $100K and you're offering $80K on the house, they still have to come up with $20,000 to pay off the house, and they're not going to want to do that. Preferably, they prefer to at least at the minimum break even and sell the house for exactly how much left on the mortgage. So there's that. So remember, I had to remember that or learn that. But yeah, that's it. So this is episode 5 of the wholesaling series. Like I said, we have over 200 videos on this channel of everything us, and I will put, I guess right here will be the playlist for this series, and then all over the screen somewhere else you'll see all the other stuff we have on the channel, and then in the middle right here I think should be like the subscribe button. So thank you for tuning in episode 5, and we will be back again next week for episode 6. Bamboo Project out.
Man, saving, not I. Top tier, top floor, top shotter. You are not top 5. To be completely 100, these people can't keep me from coming. I'm moving now. What you doing tomorrow? If you wanna do it, I say you get to it now. I see the view from the top of the podium, out of your sodium wingspan. I am the they itching to see when you sitting with me, you a wingman.